Hi, I'm Gavin, and for my scenario, I chose to research the history of Pennsylvania. William Penn was born on October 14th, 1644, in London, England. In 1655, while in Ireland with his family, William heard a man named Thomas Lowe, a Quaker itinerant, preach to his family, which intensified William's religious feelings. Then, 5 years later in 1660, Penn was accepted into Oxford University, but was expelled 2 years later due to his religious nonconformity. So, a few years later in 1666, Admiral Penn, William's father, sent William back to Ireland to manage their family estates. There, William crossed paths with Thomas Lowe again and decided to join the Quakers, which were also called the Society of Friends. In England, the Quakers were a group of religious outcasts that were treated harshly by society. And after joining the Quakers, William Penn would eventually be sent to prison 4 times, caused by him publicly stating his religious beliefs. He also published 42 books or pamphlets that spread Quaker beliefs while attacking other religions. In 1670, Admiral Penn died, all of his estates going to William. Throughout the 1670s, William worked tirelessly as a Quaker minister, going on preaching missions. During those missions, he met people who would later populate Pennsylvania. The year 1681, however, was dark for the Quakers. King Charles II was ruling without Parliament, which basically meant he could do what he wanted with nobody stopping him. So, Penn and 11 other Quakers bought the land rights to East New Jersey. William also received a large sum of land on the west bank of the Delaware River, which was granted to him by King Charles II due to a debt that was owed to Admiral Penn. It was named Pennsylvania after William's father, which translates to Penn's Woods, or land. The Duke of York also granted Penn 3 counties, which would later be Delaware. On August 31st, 1682, the Welcome left England, arriving at the mouth of the Delaware River 57 days later on October 27th. The city of Philadelphia was already being planned, and settlers were flooding in to claim the fertile land. Penn established good relations with the Delaware Indians, unlike other colonies, who constantly drove them off and attacked them. So the thing I found most interesting about this entire project was that in his entire span of his life, William Penn only spent 4 years in Pennsylvania. He left Pennsylvania in 1684 and returned to England, staying there for 15 years. He came back to Pennsylvania in 1699, but was once again called back to England to settle old debts. William Penn was confined to a debtor's prison, then suffered from a debilitating stroke in 1712 in England. Finally, he died with absolutely no money on July 30th, 1718. Migration was a large part of colonial life and was one of the biggest reasons that Pennsylvania became so quickly populated. American colonists traveled to Pennsylvania for the religious freedom and the open land. During the Revolutionary War, Pennsylvania was home to a very important site, Independence Hall. It was where the Continental Congress met to discuss what to do against the British. On July 4th, 1776, the Declaration of Independence was signed in Independence Hall, one of the most iconic moments in our nation's history. Also during the Revolutionary War was the Battle of Brandywine Creek in 1777. It was the Revolutionary War's largest battle in terms of soldiers. The battle occurred when a British force of 16,000 attacked a Patriot outpost at Brandywine Creek. The battle lasted for 11 constant hours of battling and resulted in the British defeating the Americans, with about 1,300 American soldiers dead, wounded, captured, or missing. The British continued their attack and captured the unguarded Philadelphia. Realizing that the Liberty Bell would be melted down to make weapons or ammunition by the British, a few Philadelphians hid the bell in carts of hay and manure, sneaking it safely out of the city. Finally, after the war, on December 12, 1787, Pennsylvania officially became a state by ratifying the Constitution. The final event I have is the Battle of Gettysburg. The Battle of Gettysburg is one of the most important events in the Civil War. General Robert E. Lee of the Confederate Army was seemingly invincible to the Union, winning all of his battles against the Union and defeating their army. He decided to lead an army of about 75,000 soldiers to attack Gettysburg forces, hoping to destroy the Union Army once and for all. However, about 85,000 Union soldiers rallied back and decimated Lee's army, causing them to retreat back to Virginia. Approximately 23,000 Union soldiers died during the battle, and 28,000 Confederate soldiers were killed during the battle. This battle boosted the Union's morale and turned the tide of the war into the Union's favor. On November 19, 1863, Abraham Lincoln delivered his famous Gettysburg Address at the dedication of the National Cemetery at Gettysburg. His speech described the Union cause and its struggle for liberty and equality. That's the end of my presentation. I hope you learned at least one thing about Pennsylvania, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below.